everyone to the January 27th, 2021 regular meeting of our governing board. We started with some executive sessions this evening and are now on to our regular board meeting. Mrs. Nye, could you please do our roll call?
Ms. Watson.
Here.
Jason Olive.
Jason Olive.
Here.
Laura Bruner.
Here.
Lindsay Love.
Here.
Joel Hort.
Here.
Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. I do apologize. I have a little bit of a technical issue at the moment for our document system. So just bear with me.
How are you getting there? I'm in trouble.
Up here.
Okay.
All right. I just clicked the wrong button. It's actually my fault for causing a technical issue. So, all right. We have some routine business to get started with. First is to approve the minutes of the January 13th, 2021 regular board meeting. Could I please get a motion to approve the minutes?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the January 13th, 2021 regular board meeting as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next, we have approval and ratification of payroll and the expenditure vouchers. Could I please get a motion for approval?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve and ratify a ratification of a payroll for January 14th, 2021 and current expenditures.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving and ratifying the payroll for January 14th, 2021 and the current expenditures, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Dr. Castile, do we have any correspondence?
None this evening, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. Our next section, which we haven't had for quite a while, is where our student body presidents from the various schools come and speak with us about what's been going on at their schools. So this evening, we do have 3 of our student body presidents. The first up tonight is Reed Ulick. Ulick, is that correct? Ulick, okay, from Basha High School. If you would please come up to the microphone and tell us what's going on, we'd appreciate it. And welcome.
Thank you. That's the wrong. All right, good evening, everybody. Before I begin, I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Castile for offering and allowing me to speak tonight and kind of let you guys know what's been going on with Basha student government. So just a little bit about myself. I am Reed Ulick. I've had the honor this year of serving as Basha's 2020-2021 student body president. I've been heavily involved academically at my school and was recently named a National Merit Scholar. On top of that, I've been a 4-year varsity swim and dive athlete, and I've also been involved in various clubs on campus, aside from student government, including Unified Sports, NHS, and Link Crew. I know I'm only one person up here tonight, but I would be totally remiss if I did not say that everything that my student government has tackled this year has not been a team effort. And so this year, I've had the pleasure of working with 29 amazing people, and I wanted to give a special shout out to my student government advisor, Mrs. Myers, tonight. She has done an absolute amazing job being a great leader and a role model for all of us. Here are some pictures of our student government this year on various Spirit Weeks. And so at the beginning of the year, we all kind of came together and made this motto of being all in all year. And so we knew that with COVID, stuff was not going to be normal, and we knew that we were going to face challenges, and we're going to face the biggest challenge of kind of expanding our role on campus. But we knew that whatever we were going to take on this year, and what I'm going to share with you here in a little bit, we were going to be all in all year. And so at the beginning of this school year, we defined three main pillars of what we wanted our goals to be throughout this year, and what really was our student government purpose. First was to build a supportive school community environment. We knew that this starts with us forming a school environment where people feel welcomed, people feel excited to be on campus, people feel like they have their place, and we're not just catering to one group of people. Secondly is to engage and excite the entire Basha community, whether that's through Spirit Weeks, new events, new fundraisers. We want people to be excited to come to our school and be proud to say they're a Basha Bear. And lastly, of course, is to promote school spirit and engagement. We want record number of clubs on campus, we want a record number of attendees at sport games, and we want record number of attendees at different events. And as I'm going to share with you, we've been highly successful in these three goals, and everything we've really done throughout this year has been catering to fulfilling one of these three main pillars for our purpose. So speaking of that, what have we accomplished this year? While we were virtual for the first quarter of this year, our main focus was on increasing our social media presence. Our marketing directors have done an excellent job making our social media accounts for a more professional design aesthetic. And at the beginning of the year, we established a school-wide Instagram account to where we could put out videos, we could have giveaways, and we could feature different sports and clubs as a way to engage all of those different communities on our Basha campus. So when we got to the start of the second quarter, going along with that idea of being all in all year, we undertook this huge challenge. We had this idea of making these two amazing breezeway designs on our return to campus. The first, we called it the Basha name wall. We had the names of every single student on campus, and they could go while they were walking in class, and we had people find their name, take pictures with it. Just a really great opportunity, build that community like I had talked about being one of our primary goals. And the second was this photo op, a 10,000 sticker mural. We made our logo out of these tiny 1-inch stickers. Not only was it super cool to see that Basha Bear all around Instagram and Twitter, it was a really great team bonding experience for our student government to tackle the challenge of putting together something like that and organizing that amazing decoration for our school. Along with our first week back to school, we did the largest giveaway in our school's history, where we gave away a pair of AirPod Pros, we gave away Hydro Flasks, and we gave away class shirts. In order to enter this giveaway, we had people pledge to do their part in defeating COVID-19, wearing their masks, following all the guidelines we had set in place. We had them follow our new Instagram account that I mentioned earlier, Basha Stugo on Instagram, and they got a third entry if they wore Basha gear that Friday on the first week back to school. So this was a really great opportunity to do something that we hadn't traditionally done, that fulfilled our three main pillars and our idea of being all in all year, making it the biggest giveaway we've had, and making sure that people followed those social medias and were really engaged in our Basha community. The second week back, we were able to have our annual senior sunrise on our football field as a senior exclusive event. We worked really closely with our administrators and many of you that work for CUSD to follow all social distancing guidelines to get an effective COVID-19 mitigation plan in place. And we had a high priority of holding it on our own football field to promote school spirit. We knew that some other senior classes through student government had chosen not to do it school affiliated. At Bash, we felt like it was really important to build that community that we were looking towards, to have it on our own football field. And it was a huge success. We were able to make a lot of great memories and while following all of those COVID-19 precautions I had mentioned. And this was kind of our pinnacle moment of our second quarter, but something we worked hard for weeks. It was on the second to last week of school in the second quarter. It was our gingerbread charity event. Students competed in teams of 4 decorating gingerbread houses. This was our first school-wide event of the year. Just like the Senior Sunrise, this new event was specifically designed to accommodate for social distancing. We went through a lot of challenges designing mock-ups and figuring how we were going to make sure everyone was socially distanced and follow all of those COVID mitigation plans. With this event, we were able to raise $1,000 to donate to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, which we were super proud of. And it's also worth mentioning that this was one of our highest ever rated events by attendees. So when we talked to people that had gone to the event, they said it was one of their favorite events they had been to, which was really great from us because it hadn't been something we had traditionally done. But we were really happy to see that this event that we had put together and meticulously planned with COVID had been a huge success at our school. Lastly, the last thing I wanted to mention is AASC involvement. AASC stands for Arizona Association of Student Councils. We currently are pending our designation of AASC Council of Distinction, which we submitted the application for 2 weeks ago, and last year we were also named that. So we're currently pending our designation for that this year. Dylan Galvez is a junior at our school, and he is actually an AASC State President finalist this year. There are 3 Arizona State Presidents, and so that's a really big deal for all of us, supporting him, getting him through that semifinalist stage. And we're going to find out Saturday night when 15 of us are attending the virtual AASC State Convention this Friday and Saturday, and that's where we'll also learn of our AASC Outstanding Council of Distinction designation. So just a quick look into what we are planning for the future. Obviously, I know for a lot of us, it's felt like this has already been 3 school years worth of work, and but we really have a lot of time left in this year to do some great things. One thing our senior class is working on is bringing our seniors a class of 2021 merch. They're working to sell limited edition crew necks and bucket hats. Traditionally, we would have a yearly homecoming shirt or something specific to the class of 2021. We're looking to get that in a different form this year and make it even better than we've had in previous years. We're currently looking into, we just got the fundraising paperwork approved today, which is kind of cool, for Valentine's Day grams. We're looking to sell those the week of Valentine's Day leading up to in the morning and at lunches. We really feel like this is a great fundraiser to build community, increase school spirit, and have a lot of people just have fun with it. And along with this, we're also planning a Valentine's Day themed Spirit Week. So this second week of February is a cool experience we're all looking forward to planning and making that a success. And lastly, we're hoping that COVID cases can start to decline again. And even though we've had all these great opportunities to kind of expand our role, we really do want to bring back hopefully a form of normalcy back to our campus before I graduate and the class of 2021 graduates. And so this is an event we were looking to do Q2. We did not get the approval for it, but we're going to try again later on this semester for a movie on the lawn. And so we're looking to kind of model our COVID-19 mitigation strategies off of our success on the Senior Sunrise, and to donate part of all proceeds to charity promoting mental health awareness, and hopefully have that experience on our Basha football field again. So I just kind of wanted to close thanking all of our Basha community, all of our administrators, all of our teachers, all of our parents, and all of our Basha students. I know this year has not been easy, but we would not have been able to accomplish everything we have and continue to accomplish everything we are planning on without the support from our community. So thank you.
Thank you, Reed. We appreciate hearing.
Thank you.
We appreciate hearing all about what Student Council's been doing at Basha, and it looks like you've been having a lot of great participation within your school, and it truly looks like you're meeting those goals. So
Yes, thank you.
keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would also, next, I would like to have us all welcome Brooke Romero from Hamilton High School. Welcome, Brooke.
Thank you. Oh, wow, this is so exciting. I've always wanted to be up here. Sorry, I just had a moment. Well, hello, my name is Brooke Romero, and I am Hamilton High School's student body president. This year has been unlike any other. I'm sure we are all aware of this, but I'm proud to say that our student government and school have truly made the best out of this situation. Our social media platforms have been more vital than ever, especially to be able to engage with students on and off campus throughout this year. Our Stuco decided to make a special Instagram. It's called Huskies for Kindness, and that Instagram is fully dedicated to just spreading kindness throughout our community and our school, apart from our other Instagram. And on the other Instagram, our main account, that one is where we post like this or that games, little bingos, and we've also done this thing called student compliments. So basically we created a Google Docs, and it was super successful, but students got to write little notes and compliments to their friends, and it could be anonymous or unanonymous, and we would post it on our social medias, and people could repost it, and it truly made everyone's day. We heard so many good things about it, and I know it made mine. Another thing that we've been up to is that during virtual learning, we had our first ever virtual Spirit Week, and it was called Huskies from Home, and it was super cute, and people sent in their little pictures all dressed up, And it was fun to just see people that we've only really seen through a computer screen, all dressed up in their homes. And that really brought some community when everyone felt so far apart. Once we returned back to on campus, we pulled off our first ever virtual assembly. And might I add, we pulled it off with flying colors. It was super fun, and it definitely brought that spirit back to the campus that we really did miss. The assembly was for the Battle of AZ Avenue, and we were raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and I'm proud to say that Hamilton raised $1,400 for such an amazing cause. We are now in the works of creating an even better virtual assembly from the last, and we are currently selling custom Hamilton face masks similar to these for the students to buy to also create more of a community feel. Hamilton Stugo has truly brought school spirit all the way from the hallways to our homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. We appreciate you updating us on what all's been going on at Hamilton. It sounds like you guys have been very, very creative there and have really helped with the spirit at Hamilton High, too.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And then our last student council president is Miri Chan from Perry High School. Please help me welcome Miri.
Good evening. I'd like to start off by thanking the whole board and district office for inviting us here to speak tonight. We know that you're working hard to keep us safe and want to remind you that your work does not go unnoticed. As mentioned before, my name is Miri Chan and I'm the student body president at Perry High School. Through the chaos of the year, I've seen the faculty and student body of Perry work together to make the best of it all. In school news, Perry Baseball and National Honor Society teamed up this winter to host the annual Emory Bear Drive. Emory is a Perry alumni who started an organization that collects teddy bears and stuffed animals to donate to children in the hospital. The team collected 216 stuffed animals to spread some holiday cheer throughout the hospitals. In addition to these long-lasting traditions, our students are always adding new opportunities to campus. Our very own student body secretary, Nathan Lamb, has founded a new National Science Honor Society for upperclassmen. This club is an excellent addition to the STEM program at Perry. One of our largest clubs on campus, UNICEF, has gained membership from over 100 students on campus, even without the ability to have club meetings. They are doing a fundraiser selling M&Ms to donate the profits to UNICEF. Additionally, the club I founded my sophomore year, Operation Smile, has encouraged over 60 students to join the club chapter. We've completed many service activities such as thank you letters to the nearby Dignity Health Hospital and greeting cards for Operation Smile patients. We are also currently hosting our World's Finest Chocolate fundraiser, which raised over $3,500 last year. Next, our John Prothero Rho Kappa Social Studies Honor Society has had a very successful second year, inducting 22 new members who have demonstrated their knowledge in history and global studies. Joey Antonelli, a speech and debate competitor, has been competing in multiple online competitions. In December, he placed second overall in New Jersey and first in California, winning the tournament. He then received his second bid to the Tournament of Champions National Circuit Tournament. Student government has started a year of new traditions as we've adapted to the new circumstances. To start off the in-person school year, we decorated the campus with paws, featuring each student's name, a poster wall, and lots of balloon decorations. Last quarter, we held our first event, Rivalry Week, leading up to the rivalry game against Basha. This week consisted of decorated hallways, a rivalry spirit week, lunchtime games, and a virtual assembly. During the holiday season, our council continued a tradition called Smiles for the Season, where we wrapped and gifted gifts to underprivileged students within our district. After we had boxes full of gifts, 3 of our council members went to Hartford, Galveston, and CTA Humphrey to deliver the gifts and spread some holiday cheer. This quarter, we are planning another Spirit Week to keep our student body spirited as we raise money for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Fund. We are also planning random acts of kindness to bring some joy into the daily lives of our hardworking students. Our council is so grateful to be back in person planning events. Now on to the arts. By following the new protocols of safety, including social distancing and mandatory masks, the Perry Fine Arts Department has continued to stage their performances. Dance and orchestra held multiple nights of live performance in a social distance auditorium. Band held their performance outside in the football stadium, and choir recorded each class's performance and emailed it out to parents during their holidays. In the dance department, Perry has put together its first ever competition dance team. This team is made up of company and advanced dancers who will enter their first virtual competition on February 19th. Also, within our advanced dance classes, 2 students placed first and 1 placed second in the AZDEO essay contest, winning $350 towards our dance program. Additionally, our sculpture students boosted student morale before final exams by hand-painting kindness rocks and placing them around campus. Moving on to academics, Perry had a total of 234 AP scholars with an average AP score of 3.63. We had 86 AP scholars, 60 AP scholars with honor, and 88 AP scholars with distinction. For fall 2020, we had 479 students sign up for dual enrollment classes. In athletic news, our badminton team is now 4-time state champions. The doubles team of Nikita Jayaraj and Ashley Rodarte won the championship and were named All-Premier Region Badminton Doubles Players of the Year. Singles player Kate McPherson won state runners-up, and our very own Stugo advisor and badminton coach Lorena Johnson was named AIA Division I, AIA Premier Section, and All-Premier Region Coach of the Year. Additionally, Ashley Rodarte, doubles champion, signed to Arizona Christian University for badminton. She is the first CUSD badminton player to sign since 1993. We are extremely proud of our badminton team and can't wait to see them carry on the legacy. Evan Nail won a state championship in the 200 free for the boys swim team, and both our varsity volleyball team and varsity cheer team received the state runners-up title. Continuing on, Perry had multiple students win individual titles this year. Evan Nail was named All-Premier Region and All-CUSD Swimmer of the Year and was named to the AZ Central All-Arizona team. Taylor Lovell was named All-Premier Region Runner of the Year for girls cross country. Jenna Heller was named All-Premier Region Offensive Player of the Year for volleyball, and Jordan Swan was named All-Region Defensive Player of the Year for volleyball. On to other sports, girls cross country placed 3rd place at state and boys placed 11th. Girls golf placed 6th at state. Boys swim also placed 6th, while girls swim placed 13th. It is from the training of our amazing coaches that have earned us so many titles. Girls cross country coach Brian Eidelman was named All-Premier Region and All-CUSD Coach of the Year. Boys swim coach Stephanie Carrasco was named All-Premier Region Coach of the Year and All-CUSD Coach of the Year. We are extremely proud of all our sports teams and their determination throughout the season. Overall, Perry has come together through this tough time, and we could not be more proud of our students and staff. We are excited to see all that our students will accomplish this semester. Thank you for your time, and before I finish, I have some gifts from our council to you all, if I'm able to come up and pass them out.
Thank you so much. Mary, thank you so much for your presentation this evening. And, you know, it's been quite a few months since we've had, as I said earlier, since we've had our student council presidents presenting at our board meetings. And I'm extremely grateful that you came this evening, because it really is heartwarming to hear all of the things that our students are doing in the schools and that you are leading the groups to achieve in your schools. And I truly appreciate hearing all about it, because it really kind of gives me, I guess, a boost in what we do for, or in my perception of what people are doing for each other. And that we're all one community, and you are all great examples of what people can do for their community and work together. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Ms. Love?
I do have a question for Brooke as a fellow Hamilton High Husky, class of 2003. long time ago. Where can I sign up to get those masks? Because I want a Hamilton mask. Hamilton has never brought me a mask or anything, and I'm here representing you, willing to donate.
Well, we actually just started selling them today. We are selling them for $8 at lunches, and I might just have to stop by sometime and drop one off because
Yes.
it's pretty amazing. I didn't even know.
I will have my $8 to Dr. Castile. 'Cause I want a mask.
It's more of an honor for us.
Oh, thank you.
If you send it to me, I'll make sure she gets it.
Sounds like a deal.
Thank you so much. We will go ahead and move on. This evening, we have a public hearing concerning the Chandler Unified School District Prop 301 pay for performance for the 2021 school year.
Madam President, do we just want to mention to the
Yes.
students they don't have to stay?
Yes, that is correct. You don't have to stay for the whole board meeting. I'm sure that you have assignments and things that you need to do. So thank you again for coming, and we'll see you again in a few weeks.
Good call.
Dr. Gilbert.
Madam President, members of the board, ARS 15977, which is the Classroom Site Fund, requires that a school district governing board must adopt a performance-based compensation system in order to allocate funds from the Classroom Site Fund. The 2020-2021 Proposition 301 Pay for Performance Plan has minor changes from last year's plan and has been approved by the District Super Prop Committee. These changes consist of anticipated payment of $3,200 per staff member to be paid in 2021, no professional development requirements, and the COSD Pay for Performance Plan has two components which will be based on the contingent upon the Journey 2025 district achievement goals, and another 50% is based on the teacher performance classification. Approval for this performance-based compensation system will be requested during the February 10th, 2021 regular board meeting. And I have a presentation to share. So, Madam President, members of the board, to start, to be able to share the CUSD 301 Pay for Performance Plan, I would like to start with the requirements. The District Pay for Performance Plan was developed based on the following legislative requirements, looking at ARS 15977, Section C, as I stated. I won't cover them all, but all of these are being met by the plan, which is school district performance, individual teacher performance, measures of academic progress, dropout rate, attendance, also approval by the performance-based compensation system with an affirmative vote by the staff that is eligible, as well as having an appeal process. The update for the 2021 plan, as I mentioned in the initial proposal, anticipated payment of $3,200 per staff member to be paid in 2021. No professional development requirements in this plan. As you know from previous years, there's been a professional development requirement, and there is none in this plan for this year. The CUSD Pay for Performance Plan has two components based on the following. 50% is contingent upon the Journey 2025 district achievement goals, and 50% is based on the teacher performance classification, which is highly effective, and effective teachers will receive 100% of the teacher performance portion. Developing teachers in their first 2 years receive 75%. Developing teachers with 3 years plus receive 50%, and an ineffective teacher would receive 0. One thing I think is important to note is this plan was approved by the Super Prop Committee, which is teachers, site administrators, the CEA president, as well as district administration review this plan before it is sent out to the staff to actually vote on. So when we look at the Journey 2025 plan, it consists of 12 areas. One being, first goal is equity. Then we have grade level proficiency, third grade ELA, English language arts, college and career readiness, dropout rate, graduation rate, market share, employer of choice, district of choice, classroom dollars, outside contributions, and communication rating. Some of these measures are combined to produce a single score in a specific area, and I'll share that information with you so that it gets a total score. The rubric is a 4-point rubric in all these areas in order to establish points. There's a total of 48 points possible for all of these areas in the goal. And for those that don't know, the District Journey 2025 plan can be found on the district website under Journey 2025 on the main page. So when we look at this, the next 3 slides, it gives you an idea of portions of the goals that have subcategories that are averaged into a score for that area. So for example, when we look at goal 1, or we look at equity, you will see that in 1A, it's perception of school climate, which is in a survey that students take in order to share how they feel the climate is on their campus. School discipline policy, access to advanced programming, ACT college readiness, graduation rate. So if you look at 1A through 1F, it's on the 4-point rubric, then that is averaged into a score for that one area. Also to note, the gray areas on this sheet shows the areas where this year the information or the metrics that we would normally use is unavailable to report because of the pandemic and testing that didn't occur last year that we're moving into this year. Another example for college and career readiness, you will see this is a big chunk, and a lot of this happens at our high schools, and you will see all the areas that are scored. You can see that IB test scores is one of the areas in this portion that has the data is unavailable, but we see that there is data in all these other areas. This is another one that would be combined to have a single score for this goal. So again, it's on a 4-point rubric. You have dropout rate, graduation rate. You'll see that these are combined, and employer of choice. So when we look at the payout for this area, the first 50% of the pay performance stipend would be based on the percentage of total points earned. So for example, if 80% or more of the 48 points are earned, the full amount of $1,600 would be awarded to the staff. If between 70% and 79.9% of the points of the 48 points are earned, then the staff would receive $1,325. So this is how the payout structure would be for this first 50%. The second 50% of the pay for performance plan is based on the performance classification of the evaluation process. Classifications are determined by a compilation of data collected from the following areas: instructional practice, which is weighted by element in the evaluation; deliberate practice, which is the growth plan that each teacher does and works with their administrator; student achievement, which is their growth and proficiency, and we would use 2018 and 2019 student data would be utilized as the last 2 years were unavailable. And this is the data that was also used last year when we were looking at the pay for performance plan for teachers, because that is the most immediate data that we had for our students. And then finally, the professional responsibilities. So when we look at this from a pie chart perspective, you will see that these are the percentages for each area combined to determine the performance classification, to make sure teachers understand exactly where the percentages are. So the instructional practices, which is the weighted element, would be 55%. Deliberate practice, which is the growth plan, 6%. Student achievement, which is the growth and proficiency, 33%, and professional responsibilities would be 6%. This portion of the plan is developed by Human Resources in alignment with the state legislation. So when we look at the staff agreement as required by ARS 15977 Section C, the approval of the performance-based compensation system based on an affirmative vote of at least 70% of the teachers eligible to participate in the performance-based compensation system. As I mentioned, the super prop committee evaluates this, and it's voted on at that group with that group, and then it is sent out to the staff to review and to vote on. The staff agreement form, the pay for performance question and answer documents, as well as an explanation video was distributed to the staff to be reviewed and voted on, which was also sent to the board to be able to see when it went out. I'm sure that I think it was 8 or 10 minutes of having to see me on the video, I'm sure was not a popcorn and soda night, but yeah, you had an opportunity to review. The staff agreement forms were returned to the site administrator about mid-December. As you know, we had initially had a plan that we'd been using for years prior to this year. One of the things that the board had asked at that time was to make sure that we get more feedback from our staff. So as we started with that plan, a feedback sheet went out to all of the staff at all of our schools, and information that came back at that time really focused on concerns of using student data because students had been out of school. Also understanding that because of the pandemic and issues with attendance, and then finally not wanting to also include the teacher evaluation piece, which is why I wanted to make sure that at the start of the presentation I showed what the legislation requires to be portions of the plan, so they knew what was there and how we can work with them to deal with the different issues that the pandemic has brought. So you'll see that the information did go out to the staff, and then it was voted on by the staff as a whole. Based on that approval of the staff voting, 98.6% of the eligible teachers approved the plan as it was presented and sent out to the staff. With that, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. Do any of our board members have any questions for Dr. Gilbert on the pay for performance for 301? Mrs. Bruner, did you have something?
I'm sorry, I'm still writing them down. You know how I am. Okay. All right. So just a few questions. The student achievement data, is that clustered in some way? Like exactly what does that look like?
It is the AZ Merit data that we used in 2018-19. And so that was the data that we've had that was we used last year and the previous year because that was the last data that we had prior to all of the changes happening and students not being able to take exams.
My question is, I guess, is it by grade level? Is it by school? Is it by district? Like how do we determine that that's been?
It's by school.
Okay.
And then it was the same data that we used third grade ELA. Realistically, it's the areas that are in gray that we don't have the data on the Journey 2025 plan.
Okay. So is there any flexibility for staff members who are at schools with kids who face a lot of challenges or have a larger percentage of the population that has high needs?
Well, fortunately, because of the way we have done the plan prior to this year, because of the different bonus points, which was attendance, dropout rate, those all are included in that number. So that was still one of the ways that sites were able to work with what happened on how they scored on their exams, plus all the areas that they were able to get bonus points. So it was very advantageous to continue to use the 2018-19 data because all that information was available, which our schools were all successful in.
And so was growth looked at differently? Like was it equal, like growth/performance, or was one heavier than the other?
Well, when we look at that data, the growth perspective from one year to the other, the only portion I would say that was more of growth, it was really measured on what your attendance was from one year to the other.
Okay. When
we were looking at data within the initial plan that we had, it wasn't growth data, it was each year's data in comparison to like schools that year. So it wasn't a growth piece.
Okay, thank you. And then what does professional responsibilities mean exactly? That was one of the 4 bullet points.
Well, within the evaluation tool, it has to do with professional, in the evaluations, professional behavior. And I don't think I'm leaving anything out, but of course I do have Sandy Cooper here that can help in that particular area. Sorry, Sandy, to put you on the spot there. But it is the professionalism and the professional portions of an evaluation of a teacher.
Yes, it is a part. It's on? Oh, good. It is a part of our teacher evaluation. And just from memory there, it includes just, again, okay, thank you. Part of our teacher evaluation. It includes just more policy procedure types of things, but it also includes contributions to the site, collegiality with other other coworkers, working together, both mentoring and continued growth. So those are the areas that I want just to highlight by memory.
No, I didn't mean for you to have to spew them out. I was just curious what it meant in general. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your help, Ms. Cooper.
And then the appeals process, does that involve teachers or is it just administration?
It's the Super Prop Committee.
Okay.
One of the things when I meet with the group each year, I share with them although there's a number of things we do, there are two major parts to what this committee does, which is teachers, the CA president, site administration, and district. Mm-hmm. One is to make sure that we develop a plan that we can send out for the staff to vote on. And the second is at the end of the year, if there are appeals, that we hear those appeals and we go through it to be able to make a determination.
Okay. If the money is not doled out, let's say we get to 75%, right? And so that little bit of chunk is still left over. Just clarifying, I think I know the answer, but I just want to verify that money wraps into the Prop 301 Fund 12 account for the next year.
It rolls, yes.
Okay.
If it's not used, it rolls to next year.
And then were there any issues that certified staff brought up that this was a concern, or there were any concerns in the decision making?
I'm not sure I understand.
When this was decided, were there any other issues that we haven't heard that maybe they were considering, or things that?
No, actually, after the initial feedback that we received, the big three were the evaluation piece, the student data, and the attendance because of the pandemic. After that, and sending it back out to the staff, no, I didn't hear any.
And my last question was, with the survey, so I know before we had the survey kind of attached to the documentation that made it kind of seem like if you didn't agree to this, you weren't getting your money. And I was wondering if you could describe what that looked like this year with the survey data.
This year it was actually separate. So there was a form that had the plan information, and this is a feedback form so that we can see your thoughts to determine what the plan would look like. This is a draft of the plan. Share your feedback with us as to what your thoughts are. And it had nothing to do with any agreement. There was an agreement portion. It was, here's the plan, and it gave a lot of lines to write whatever they wanted to write to give us feedback on, so that then we can take that information and then send the plan that they would vote on out totally separate, which is one of the reasons why, reluctantly, because I'm not a video person, I went through the whole plan on video so that not only did they see it on paper, but they can also hear it in the video and replay it if they needed to hear exactly what it was before voting on it.
Thank you. I really appreciate, everyone hearing us on our concerns about, tying it to PD and the way the survey was done. And thank you so much for just making it more transparent and maybe a little truer to the initial spirit of the law, that it was about performance rather than like overtime work or, whatever. And just thank you to everyone who worked on this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the board? Jason, are you still there?
I'm still here. Yes, I asked some questions earlier. I'm okay.
Okay, great. Anyone else? Dr. Gilbert, thank you so much for the presentation, and this will be on our agenda on February 10th. I assume it's on the consent agenda because we've had our opportunity to ask any of the questions, and things aren't changing between now and then.
Yes, Madam President.
Thank you. All right. Next is our citizen comment portion of the meeting, and this is the members of the board may not discuss any items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38430.01, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. I would like to start with Mr. Terry Locke, because we did receive a number of comments from the public online, and we will go ahead and start with you.
Well, thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Castile. Since our last board meeting on January 13th, we heard from 163 people who took advantage of our electronic method to provide citizen comments. The opportunity is promoted on our governing board page, allowing for the convenience of providing feedback from the comfort of one's home or smartphone. With our current format, we're able to provide board members feedback in advance to give them time to process the information and ask questions of the district administration. This process also gives us time to sort responses by categories and provide a big picture view in addition to all of the verbatim responses. These are organized by topic of interest. They fall under health and safety mitigation, COVID dashboard and metrics, social and mental health, do not return to in-person, stay with in-person method, academic concerns, offer, stay in virtual, thanks to the board, teacher staff safety, evaluate on school-by-school basis for closing, offer choices, criteria, surveys, communication, governing board meetings, and offer a hybrid. The board appreciates hearing various points of view. You have all the submissions verbatim for your consideration. They're also available on the website for public review.
Thank you, Mr. Locke. And as a reminder, on our board agenda, there is a link to all of these comments so that board members can review them if they haven't already. We also have 2 forms filled out tonight that are to be submitted to the board president prior to the meeting beginning. Our first one is Kurt Roars. You have 3 minutes, and do we have a timer? Okay.
I won't take 3 minutes, but thank you. Is this on?
I believe so.
So, Madam Superintendent, staff, and board members, my name is Kurt Roars. I'm a parent in this district. Come here this evening to address the board and staff members on promoting character in our schools. Recently, a man gave an address regarding the social strife we are now seeing in our country. This man is far more articulate and insightful than I am, so I will simply read his words to you. His point is that ethnicity and identity group politics have become more important than the character of each individual, as leading to a breakdown of social harmony in our community. The district plays an important role in influencing children to reverse this awful regression. So I quote, "For much of the past year, America has been reckoning with the legacy of slavery and the persistence of racial injustice in our country. Sadly, it is still true that the color of our skin often matters more in our society than the content of our character, as Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. said a half a century ago. As Reverend King said in 1967 in his speech, "Where we go from here, let us be dissatisfied until that day when nobody will shout white power, when nobody will shout black power, but everybody will talk about God's power and human power." As we witnessed in the violence of the cities last summer, and the violence that broke out again last week at the Capitol in Washington, D.C., our country has become too angry, too bitter, and too divided. As we confront our deep divisions, we face the same choices that Reverend King and the civil rights movement faced. For us, too, the question is, how will we struggle against the injustices in our society, and what means will we use? Along the way of life, someone must have the sense enough and the morality enough to cut off the chain of hate. This can only be done by projecting the ethics of love in the center of our lives. In this moment, Reverend King would counsel everyone in public life to seek reconciliation and reject the easy temptation for reprisals and recrimination. We do not love those who oppose us because they are lovable. or even likable. We love them because God loves them. And by our love, we will seek their conversion and friendship, not their humiliation. This is our Christian duty in this moment, to be healers and peacemakers, to overcome evils and lies,
30 seconds.
not by more of the same, but with words of truth and the works of love. This comes from the Cardinal of Los Angeles, Jose Gomez, last January 16th. Please consider his words very carefully. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roars. I would like to remind all of the individuals in our room to please make sure that your masks are pulled up all the way over your nose. Thank you. Our next speaker, our last speaker is Katie Nash. Katie?
Good evening. I also hope I'm not going to take the full 3 minutes, but I just wanted to take some time to recognize all of our amazing support staff who has kept us running since March. They have been, I believe, the most hard hit by virtual learning. They've taken some pay cuts, some jobs have been reallocated and things. They've been incredibly flexible in taking on new positions that they may not have been as comfortable with, and they've been doing this all in some of the most at-risk positions, working really closely with some of our special ed students, bus drivers, et cetera. And they've just been doing an outstanding job, so I wanted to give a little shout out to all of our amazing support staff. And then I also wanted to just comment about the reduction in force policy. I know that we're all hopefully really optimistic that we don't have to implement something like this. But in a time where everyone is worrying about their health and we're also in an economic crisis, this just feels like one more worry that we should not be putting on our support staff as well as our certified educators. We really appreciate being a voice in the room in creating this rubric. I think the rubric is pretty fair and addresses a lot of things that really are beneficial to educators in trying to retain them. But I'm calling on us to consider using contingency funds. We keep talking about this rainy day fund at the state legislature. It literally is raining in Arizona. Normally we kind of joke that it's a rainy day fund, it's never rains, but it literally is, and this is the time that we can help. We call on those. And just recently, one district talked about giving a COVID stipend to all of their educators who have stayed on staff this year, as well as an additional 10 days of sick time. So I hope that through this Super Q bargaining process, we can work together to find solutions that keeps everyone working and healthy during this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. We will now move on to our consent agenda. Dr. Castile.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I think it's the second meeting in the row. We've had a short consent. Monetary gifts in the amount of $84,281.99. We've also had donated items to our schools in the amount of $219.99. We're recommending approval of a revised job description for food and nutrition. And human resources packet includes employment, separation, and compensation, recommending approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Castile. Could I please get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. We have a number of action items on our agenda for this evening. The first one is to approve the amended calendar to remove one instructional day and authorize the superintendent or her designee to execute any forms or documents to effectuate this change and confirm that the district will provide students with the state mandated minutes during this school year. Mrs. Berry.
Madam President, members of the board, pursuant to board action taken on January 4th, 2021, schools were closed for instruction on January 5th, 2001 to allow staff to prepare for the students to return to virtual instruction. The academic calendar now needs to be revised to reflect the day the schools were closed for instruction. The academic calendar does not need to be extended because the state-mandated minutes of instruction will be provided without requiring any additional days or minutes added to the 2020-2021 school year. To document that the district will have provided students with the state-mandated minutes of instruction during the 21 school year, we request that the governing board authorize the superintendent or her designee to complete and submit to the Arizona Department of Education any forms needed to document the district's compliance with ARS 15-341.01 and any other related state laws, recommending the approval of the calendar.
Thank you, Mrs. Berry. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the amended academic calendar to remove one instructional day and authorize the superintendent or her designee to execute any forms or documents to effectuate this change and confirm that the district will provide students with the state-mandated minutes of instruction during the 2020-2021 school year. It's a long one.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions for Mrs. Berry on this? Since there are none, I will go ahead. All those in favor of the amended academic calendar and confirming that or authorizing the superintendent or her designee to execute the forms needed, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Our next is policy GCQA, professional staff reduction in force revision. Mrs. Cooper
is going to take it.
Madam President and members of the board, the Chandler administration's recommended changes on policy GCQA, which is a professional staff reduction in force, as a result of reviewing the current policy. Although Chandler has not used a reduction in force policy in more than 30 years, and this policy has not been revised for 10 years, revisions are presented to include job performance as an indicator for consideration in order to ensure that a quality workforce is maintained that will be able to perform the district's educational programs. These changes were presented as information at the January 13th meeting, and we are now requesting approval.
Thank you, Mrs. Cooper. Could I please get a motion?
I move that we approve this revision in policy.
Is there?
Second.
Okay. Are there any questions? Mrs. Bruner, did you have a question?
I think I asked them last week, and so or 2 weeks ago, and the issue was just about the inclusion of years of service in general to education versus, the legal ramifications for saying the district versus just experience in general.
And those were answered to you. Oh, okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of approving the revised policy GCQA, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Mrs. Bruner, I didn't hear you. Did you say aye? Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. It's hard to hear with masks occasionally here. So the motion carries. Next, we have some other materials. This is concerning our superintendent/interim superintendent search, and it's to approve the information and invitation to apply for position and related direction to administration. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve invitation to apply for the position of interim superintendent as presented to the governing board tonight and direct the administration to appropriately post the same.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any comments? We all have our, the forms that were distributed to us concerning this, and I believe that we had our discussion in our executive session, so I will go ahead and, if there's no other comments or questions, I will go ahead and call for the question. All those in favor of approving the invitation to apply and directing the administration to appropriately post it, please say aye.
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 The motion carries. Are there any dissensions? Okay, the motion carries. Next is our interim superintendent search to approve the letter to the community and related direction to administration. Could I please get a motion for this?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the letter to the Chandler Unified School District community as presented to the governing board tonight, and further move to direct the administration to disseminate the letter to the CUSD community.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. I believe the letter that has been updated and is in the possession of the board members in their packet, except for maybe you, Mr. Olive. But hopefully that, was that emailed to him? Okay, it should be in your email if you're on your email also. If there's no other discussion on this, I will go ahead and we'll go ahead and vote.
I just wanted to mention, because I don't know if the public is aware why we chose interim, and so maybe this would be the time, because in the letter it's described, and we're not going to read the whole letter, it'll go out, but we had a lot of discussions regarding the length of time that it takes to do a thorough search for a permanent replacement for superintendent, and that we're kind of in a crunch and we wouldn't be able to do it the service that it deserves. If I can add, if I'm missing or misrepresenting here, but so the board had looked at the option of an interim for 1 year to get us over the hump so we can do the full search using most of next year's school year for the process.
Thank you. All those we'll go ahead and vote on this. All those in favor of the motion to approve the letter to the community and move to direct the administration to disseminate the letter, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Does anyone wish, we'll move on to 8.05. Does anyone wish to make a motion related to 8.05 on the agenda? If not, then we will not need to take any action on that. Our next is some information items. We first have our board agenda roadmap. We do have a meeting on February 10th as our next meeting. I do believe that the board will be having at least one, probably 2 executive sessions prior to the meeting. Other than that, I think everything is getting populated into our agenda as we go along. Dr. Kess, yes.
I apologize that I didn't realize that I needed to submit my form before 7 o'clock for a citizen comment. Since we're a little ahead of schedule, would you entertain a 3-minute citizen comment additionally?
I think so, yes. If you would like to go to the microphone. And could you, Would you get her form, Terry? And would you, when you go up, would you please state your name so that we all can hear it?
Thank you so kindly. I appreciate your accepting my apology. As a grandmother, Karen Lamborn, citizen here in your wonderful school district and teacher of 25 years, I rise to the occasion to quote from the Wall Street Journal article, January 26th, 2021. Headline being, Biden's first day began the end of girls' sports. And he agreed that any school that receives federal funding, including nearly every public high school, must either allow biological boys who self-identify as girls onto girls' sports teams or face administrative action and possibly reduction in the federal funding. There is a huge difference between boys who identify as girls and girls who are girls on the sports field. One big example, I quote, involved the fastest female sprinter in the world, whose name is Allison Felix, a woman with more gold medals than Usain Bolt. Her lifetime best for the 400-meter run is 49.26 seconds. Based on 2018 data, nearly 300 high school boys of the same age in the U.S. alone would beat it. I have a 14-year-old, beautiful, running ninth grader. To put her time and effort into running and then be constantly devastated by transgender boys who compete against her seems grossly unjust. I rise to the occasion to ask your consideration. Is this fair? Is this what you want in encouraging the sports of our beautiful young girls? Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Castile, do you have any comments for this evening?
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I do have a few. In partnership with the Arizona Department of Health and local pharmacists from Safeway Albertsons and Fry's Foods, we will be having a point of distribution, be giving vaccines to our employees this Saturday and Sunday at Hamilton and Perry, and I want to thank those that are partnering with us. We're also open those to child care workers and private and charter schools in the area. We anticipate being very busy on Saturday and Sunday. I want to thank Frank Fletcher, Amber Stoward, Larry Rother in particular have been the leads in this effort and just doing a tremendous job. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the many volunteers. We have probably 100 or better that will be out in force helping direct traffic. We had 4 of the contractors, and you folks have been approving their contracts to help build and renovate our buildings for years. And that's Core, Chase, McCarthy, and Concord. They are donating all the tent-like, the easy-ups, the tents, the signage, the tape, the tables, even the lunches and snacks for all the volunteers. So this really is going to be a team effort, and we're so appreciative of them donating those kinds of resources to us. So we will be as efficient and effective as the State Farm and Chandler Gilbert, right? Mr. Rother and Mr. Fletcher. And also, we have been, Mr. Rother's been working, we're going to be doing a rapid testing blitz. The rapid test, February 8th through the 12th. I think you might have heard on the news there's other districts that are being offered this opportunity. It's at no cost to us. It's open to the entire community. It'll be in the afternoons. We're going to do it out of the old transportation department. And this is within 15 minutes or within an hour, you have the results of your test. And this is as a service. If anybody's feeling as though they have COVID, anyone in our community, they can go there and get checked out that particular week in a convenient manner. In addition, we've been working with Dignity Health in Maricopa County. we have approximately, the best we can tell at this point, 1,400 to 1,600 of our employees have had the phase 1 Pfizer, and they need the second dose. We've been working with Dignity Health in Maricopa County to facilitate them getting that elusive second dose that everybody's heard about. And we've experienced some success. Our employees were given a link to sign up so that they can get their invitation to get their second dose. And we're real appreciative of the effort. And I think that is all, other than I just certainly appreciate the board's patience with all of the executive sessions and the study sessions you've had. And we look forward to the day we can come in and talk about something academic. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Castillo. Do we have any board member comments? I'll start with Jason. Bless you. I'll start with Jason.
Thank you. I wanted to say that I'm experiencing getting to experience what quarantine is like. So all of our students that have had to go through that and be out of school, it's the way I feel now. I'm all alone in my house. I wanted to say thank you to the administration for setting up all the vaccination stuff. That was a lot of work, and you guys are doing a wonderful job at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mrs. Brunner? Ms. Love? Mr. Worth?
Just so the board knows that, excuse me, on February 2nd, I have surgery. I may miss 2 to 3 weeks of in-person or virtual meetings.
Okay. Thank you. We appreciate you letting us know, and if you could be in contact with Donna to make sure that she knows all of the dates that you probably will be missing, I'd appreciate it. With that said, I appreciate everyone tuning in to the live stream of our meeting this evening, and I want to also express my appreciation for the students who came this evening and all of our staff and our support staff and our teachers and our administrators who really helped to make this district work, and those students and administrators and teachers and support staff that make this community a really caring community. So thank you very much. Have a good evening, and our meeting is adjourned.